let's talk about a visit to the United States by French President Emmanuel Macron, who went to Washington, D.C. yesterday. First state dinner took place last night. The entire thing was a gong show from the get-go, and I'm going to get to Donald Trump's statement about his 2+ hour meeting with Macron momentarily. But just to give you first a little bit of the flavor for the endless string of bizarre faux pas, each outdoing the previous in terms of Trump's meeting with world leaders, during a photo op in the White House, Donald Trump at one point claimed to be wiping dandruff off of the shoulder of the French president. And the funniest thing, if you're watching, you'll be able to hear what Trump says, whether you're listening or watching. If you're watching, you'll also be able to observe the look on Emmanuel Macron's face when Donald Trump is doing this. And it's an amazing reaction by virtue of non-reaction. Macron sort of stone-faced with a smile, right? Like an immovable smile on his face, as Donald Trump claims to be wiping dandruff off of the French president's suit. Take a look at this. Take a listen to this.
Mr. President, they're all saying what a great relationship we have, and they're actually correct. It's not fake news. Finally, it's not fake news. So it's a great honor that you're here. But we do have a very special relationship. In fact, I'll get that little piece of dandruff off. That little piece. We have to make him perfect. He is perfect. So it is really great to be with you, and you are a special friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yeah, interestingly, that was the least cringeworthy moment of the entire visit. So it only got worse from there. And they did a sort of statement after their meeting. They were sitting across from each other at a table. Mike Pence was next to Trump, and Jim Mattis, and John Bolton was on Trump's side of the table, and everything about it was just transmitting a very, very strange atmosphere. Let's go through a few clips from the meeting.
We were going to have a short little meeting, and it turned out to be a long meeting, and it could have gone on for another 2 hours. We discussed a lot of things, a lot of problems in the world, a lot of problems that we think can be solved. We've come a long way, just the two of us, I think, as understanding. We talked about Iran, we talked about Syria, we talked about a lot of subjects that really are big, hard situations, and we think we have solutions to a number of them. So we're going to continue that now, and then Emmanuel and myself will meet again, I think, after this meeting.
Right. Aside from Trump referring to them going over a number of big, hard situations, that actually, again, that's not the weirdest part of this. What's weird, I think, is sort of a couple things. Number one, there's this attitude from Trump generally that, like, he's better than Macron, right? On some level, he's a better man, he's a better person, he's more important than Macron. But also, there's this feeling like it's all sort of a bother to him, like he's sort of, yeah, I'm doing this, and we had a meeting, we could have met longer, we talked about trade, I set the agenda, but it's all kind of like from a point of condescension, isn't it?
He's just going through the motions. He's talking a lot without saying anything, and I kind of wish I could do that too. You're just like filling the air. Well,
and what he ended up doing is just going very quickly into bragging about random things, right? So there's no real indication that he actually saw the content of the meeting with the French president as that important, because he immediately jumped into bragging about unemployment rates in different states. Take a look.
Very good numbers are coming out on our businesses. You're seeing the numbers that are getting released on our companies and our businesses. They're very strong. The economy is been really incredible. Unemployment now is at the lowest point ever in history in many states. The states were enumerated last night, late last night. The numbers came out, and we've hit the lowest unemployment numbers in many decades in some cases, and in some cases the lowest numbers, period. It was just reiterated that unemployment for African American families, it's been the best in history. For Hispanic families, the best in history. For women, the best in 18 years, and that's very close to going much higher than that. So it's really something very special, so we're very happy about that.
It's like, what is he talking about? If you're Emmanuel Macron and you're sitting there across from him, what do you make of the fact that Trump is just making absolutely no sense? And a lot of the stuff he said wasn't even true. He said we've gotten the numbers from our companies and everything's great. The Dow crashed 500 points yesterday on anticipated bad earnings numbers. Like, where is Trump getting this stuff? And it just went on like this for a while. I don't know what is going through the French president's head as this is going on. And then Trump talks about his conversation with Macron again, this time saying they talked about trade, which I'm sure they did, but it's made abundantly clear that Trump doesn't know anything about trade. Look at this.
The president and I working on trade. The trade with France is complicated because we have the European Union. I would rather deal just with France. The Union is very tough for us. They have trade barriers that are unacceptable. Our farmers can't send their product into the European Union easily as they should, and we accept their product, so we have to make a change. And they understand that, and we're negotiating, Wilbur and Steve and everybody, we're negotiating with the European Union.
Yeah, everybody's doing a great job. And then trade apparently got Trump into talking about China, where it really got strange. Take a look at this last clip.
We have no choice but to be very serious. You know, we've put on very substantial tariffs, and that will continue unless we make a trade deal. I think we've got a very good chance of making a deal. As you know, they've just stated President Xi, a terrific guy and a friend of mine, but he's representing China and I'm representing the United States. President Xi made a speech 4 days ago where he said that China is going to be opened up. Well, because it's not opened up right now. They trade with us, we can't trade with them. They did $504 billion last year, and we did $120 billion. That's a tremendous imbalance, and we can't have that.
Yeah. The key moment there was when Trump clarified that he represents the United States in trade deals. It's actually good to clarify that. Often I don't know whose side Trump is on from what he says. So it's good that he said, by the way, I do represent the United States here. Sort of a verbal Rorschach test of sorts, right? He later talked about North Korea. I won't subject you to that stuff. And then finally, Emmanuel Macron gets a chance to speak, and I realized in his non-native English, Macron is more articulate and better able to communicate in a sort of reasonable human way than Donald Trump is.
And with that, thank you all very much. Mr. President, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Mr. President, for this word. We will have this enlarged meeting. We will spend a while together again before the press conference, just to say that we had a very good discussion on Syria, on Iran, the overall region, and some other very important topics regarding our security. And I think we have to work together because we've always worked together on these issues, and it's very important to preserve the stability of this region. And I think what we want to do in the interest of our people is precisely to preserve stability, sovereign states without any hegemony.
There it is. So Emmanuel Macron putting a final point on that, and I decided to wade into online comments about this entire thing. And the Trumpists are just loving it, right? Despite the fact that Trump looks like he just woke up at that table and all of a sudden said, wow, there's cameras here and I should say something. Oh, Trump must be playing 4D chess. It's just unbelievable. Every move he makes is so carefully crafted and just brilliant in every way. So we're not probably going to agree with those folks.
They also liked it when Trump was being adversarial with Macron, so I guess they can have it either way.
Sure.
I mean, before there was like the handshake games.
Yep.
Now there's the kissing, the grooming. I like it all, really.
They were kissing and grooming each other a lot and holding hands and stuff. It was just every detail down to the smallest minutia. Bizarre and unexplainable in so many ways, and we'll see what the eventual diplomatic repercussions are of this very strange and bizarre visit. Send me your thoughts. I'm on Twitter at @dpakman. Show's on Twitter at David Pakman Show. Quick break, back after this. Today's program is made possible in part by Futur. Futur is a social forecasting game where you compete with other players to predict the future, and it's built on the principles of what's called a prediction market, a scientifically proven way of using the wisdom of the crowd to create more accurate predictions about future events. Prediction markets have been shown to work much better than other forecasting methods like polling or expert analysis in many cases. And Futur has actually taken the concept and turned it into a fun, easy to use social game. You open up the Futur app and you'll see a whole range of forecasts covering topics across the board, from politics to sports and everything in between. You can check out my predictions and follow me to get updates on my profile, which is linked to in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. Futur is a great tool to find out more about the world, improve your forecasting ability, show off your prediction skills to friends, and even better, when you make predictions on Futur, you're helping to create more accurate forecasts for everybody. Their mission of creating better predictions is great. And actually going in there and seeing how well you can do at predicting the future can be kind of addicting. Go to futur.com, sign up, and start making forecasts. It's free, and it's available on both Android and iOS, as well as on web browsers. And that's futur.com.